welcome to Music with Miss Chrissy. Today we're going to be talking about Peter and the Wolf, one of my most favorite pieces of music ever. When I was a kid, I remember listening to this on my children's record player, and it was my favorite, and I'd listen to it over and over, and we have talked about it in class. So I hope you're already familiar with the story, but if you're not, let's just review really quickly. So, our story begins in Russia, where the young boy Peter and his best friends, a duck and a bird, go into the meadow. The bird and the duck are playing at the pond, and a cat finds them, tries to grab the bird, but fails. The grandfather comes by and warns Peter about the wolf, takes him home and locks them in the house and locks the gate. As soon as Peter and the grandfather leave the meadow, however, the wolf comes out of the forest. The wolf catches the duck and swallows her. The wolf turns his attention to the cat and the bird who are up in the tree. Peter watches all of this and makes a plan to capture the wolf. He sneaks out of his house, and he and the bird work together to catch the wolf with a rope. When the hunters arrive, Peter asks them to help take the wolf to the zoo. In celebration, everyone parades the wolf toward his new home. The duck is still alive and can be heard quacking inside of the wolf. That's a pretty Russian story, don't you think? Sounds like it because it is. Let's learn a little bit about the composer of this piece of music, Sergei Prokofiev. Here's another one of his famous pieces, Romeo and Juliet, which was a ballet. Prokofiev was born in Russia in 1891, and he died in Russia in 1953, just a couple of days before Stalin died. But in between, he traveled to a lot of places. He lived in France, America, lots of different countries. But in the end, he wanted to come back to Russia. He was a very, very talented musician, like Mozart-level genius. He started composing at age 5 and written his first full opera, which was an amazing opera at 9 years old. But probably his most famous composition was Peter and the Wolf. So let's spend some time talking about Peter and the Wolf. In our story, we have lots of different characters, and each character has its own instrument and its own theme. So that is to say, there's an instrument, and every time that instrument plays that character, they have a certain melody they play. So we're going to talk about the melody for Peter and his grandfather, and the cat, and the duck, and the wolf, and the bird, and the hunters. We'll start with Peter. We're going to play a little guessing game. I'm going to play you Peter's theme, and you are going to guess which instrument plays that theme. Did you guess the strings? Of course, you're right. Peter is played by the strings. Now, I found this fun little graphic that not only helps us learn the theme, but also is going to help us memorize the melody of this theme by putting words to it. So if we give it a listen again. Now let's sing along with this little melody someone's come up with to go with that theme. I am a happy boy and Peter is my name. I am Peter, I'm Peter, I'm Peter. So every time you hear that, you're going to know that's Peter. What about the bird? Which instrument plays the bird? I'm sure we have all guessed that that is the flute. You are right. The bird is played by the flute. And this super fun melody with the words sounds like this. I'm a bird, a little bird, yes, tweedledee, tweedledee, dee. It sounds exactly like a bird. It's really easy to know that one's the bird. Let's give our duck a listen. Which instrument plays the duck? It sounds a little squawky. And I'm going to tell you, anytime you hear something that's a little squawky, it's a double reed. In this case, the double reed that we're hearing is the oboe, which is pitched higher than the other double reed here, the bassoon. So the next time you hear something that's a little squawky, it won't be the oboe because we already know the duck is the oboe. And here is the duck's theme with the words: Duck, I am just a little duck. I am just a little duck. And what about the cat? That is played by the clarinet. That mellow but a little bit sneaky tone perfectly matches the character of our sneaky cat. I am cat, just a cat, but a sneaky cat. Now I am off to get that bird up in the tree. Now let's get our grandfather. Do you hear that one is a little squawky? Remember I said when we hear something squawky, it's going to be a double reed. And in this case, that double reed is the bassoon. It's very low, but a little squawky. That's our grandfather. And he mostly just harumphs a lot. Harumph, 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 harumph. Beware of the wolf. That's the grandfather. Next, we have our wolf. That menacing sound you hear is the French horn section. I'm sure you already guessed that. Here are some words to go along with his theme. Growl. Mean and very hungry, I'm the mean old wolf. And next, the hunter's sort of a twofer. There is the hunter's theme that we hear that's played by kind of the whole orchestra, where they're sort of sneaky, but also kind of loud and jingly. And then the guns the hunters carry have their own sound, which is the last one we haven't talked about here. And those are, of course, the timpani, these giant drums, sometimes called kettle drums. Can you see this foot pedal? So there are usually 2, 3, or 4 timpani in an orchestra, and you change the pitch by pushing this lever. When we push this lever, that changes these, which in turn determine how tight the head of the drum is, and that's what changes the pitch. So we heard bum, 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 bum. Those would be 2 different timpani tuned to those pitches. The hunter's theme song goes like this. We're hunters looking for the wolf. We're traveling our guns through the deep, dark woods. So that's the hunter's theme. Now you are all experts on this. Your next slide in this Seesaw presentation is actually going to have the classic Disney Peter and the Wolf cartoon, and it does have the narration, this time by David Bowie. So let's appreciate that. Enjoy Peter and the Wolf. Tell me what you think in the comments. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.